Well, hello, folks. This is Dave Arisco, Artistic Director of Actors Playhouse and Director of Now and Then. And I'm very fortunate today to have with me our playwright, Mr. Sean Grennan. How are you, Sean?
Good, David. How you doing?
Very, very well. It's so great to see you again. Sean and I have a history of knowing each other and we've done, believe it or not, Sean, this is play number 5 that you either were a collaborator on or wrote on your own.
It's
remember,
amazing.
Do you remember the ones?
I think you did Married Alive and
That's correct.
Another Night Before Christmas, the 2 musicals.
Correct.
I think you did Making God Laugh, yes?
Yes.
And The Tin Woman.
You are right.
So this is
ding, 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 ding.
You obviously have very low standards, and I appreciate that. I really do.
So we discovered in the process of all of this that you may be the playwright that I have produced and directed the most in 34 years here at Actors Playhouse. I counted some others. There were 3 and 4 shows, but this is show number 5. Wow. And it's very exciting. Very exciting. Yeah. I enjoy your work. So now and then. So Sean, why don't I let you tell the audience a little bit about your idea, the germ, whatever you want to call it, for what brought you to write this play.
Sure. You're a writer. You're always looking at everything to see if there's a story in there somewhere. And sometimes it's an occasion, or sometimes it's a relationship or something. This time it came out of one word. I was reading an article and I came across a word that I'd never heard before. And as I've gotten to be a grizzled old man, I've gotten better at just looking up those words instead of just skipping over and try to figure it out, or try to get a feeling about it. But the word was very hard to find. It was kind of a new age word. It's a brand new word that that's how language works. And the word was enumment, ENOUEMENT. And I went, enumment? I have a pretty okay education. What is that? So I hunted it down, and it means wistful sadness and not being able to tell your younger self what you know now. And I was like, that was like a knife in my chest. And oh my gosh, maybe it's my age or something. Because I think as we get older, we get more reflective about our lives, and we see the arc of things better. Because I've done that same stupid thing so many times. When am I going to learn? That sort of thing. But enumment, it's one the whole play. This play came out of that one word. So
that's amazing. And without, of course, we don't want to do spoiler alerts, folks, but we like to call this play a whimsical, dramatic comedy with romance and mystery. So we get a little bit of everything, and it's really the truth. It's not that often that our audience has laughed with us with Making God Laugh and been moved and laughed with The Tin Woman. But this play, I think, just has a little bit of everything. And that's what excited me about it when I first read it and we began to work on it. And we also talked a little bit with the cast about the idea of the fork in the road, the choices we make in life. And I'll let you talk a little bit about that too, because we're both of a similar age and we do look back at times in our life and those aspects.
Oh yeah. I was sort of a believer in luck a bit. I think in my career, if you walk out of the Starbucks, you turn left, you run into this person, and your whole life goes that way. Or if you turn right, this thing happens, or you get hit by a truck, whatever it is, So, and I've seen that in my own life again and again. I will say, for the most part, it works. When luck works on you, it works out pretty well as long as you embrace the change. But like years ago, I was mostly an actor. I'd written a little bit, but I was mostly an actor living in Chicago. And my wife got called to, she's an actress, she got called to do Les Mis on Broadway. And so we were going to go out to New York for like just 6 months, just as a lark, because we're Midwesterners. And then 22 years later, we're still there. And my acting career, I did some stuff. I did like Law and Orders and stuff like that. I did a few things, but my writing career kicked into gear. And a theater in Kansas City who knew me as an actor called me, and I did a show for them as an actor. But then they said, "You write too," and it just started a whole thing. And I'm delighted by it. I think I'm in the right chair finally doing this. I think I'm a better writer than I was an actor. But it's just sometimes the path just, you don't see it coming, you can't make plans. It's one of the reasons that I Making God Laugh is about, it's based on a joke, a Woody Allen joke. Is you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans, So
Right.
yeah, so I think that's how things go. And
I think because we're of similar ages, like I said before, the fact, I was also an actor who had a fork in the road and had an opportunity to direct the show here that I had been cast in, and then that turned into artistic director, and then that turned into 34 years in South Florida. And so all of these things are, and it's true, if you embrace it and or you move forward with it. And I think the play, now and then we deal with also a young couple and an older couple. And we also get to see the reflectiveness of the choices from the older couple and the anxiety and or the beginning of the worry of the choices of the younger couple. I think that you've really interplayed that really well.
Oh, thanks. Thank you so much.
I just think that's something that the audience will really appreciate. We can have it for younger audiences, middle-aged audiences, and even people who are reflecting, who are older than the older couple in the play, looking back at their lives. I know that the actors and myself have been discussing that a lot. So did I describe the play right about the fact that, we love your humor.
Oh, thanks.
But, I think this one has more to say.
Yeah, I will say this is more answer than you may want, but when I started out writing, I think I would hit the funny button a lot more than I do now, because it's sort of insecurity. If people are laughing, they're having a good time. When they're quiet, you don't know what's going on. So if they could be in hell and you don't know. But as I've gotten along, and as you've probably seen, because you've seen a pretty good sample of through the years of my stuff, you've probably seen a change in me as I've written. I still believe in humor, and I believe in putting humor and darkness right next to each other, like 1 second to the next. But I didn't lean as heavily into that this time because there was more to talk about, and I didn't want to diminish the message too much. I always think it's good to poke fun. If you start to pontificate, then it's time to put a joke in here. But I wanted to say some things. You got that right.
Yeah, and I think it says it beautifully. And I think that one of the things that we also discussed with the cast, and I know you and I have talked briefly about the fact that anytime we have a show where the audience leaves, and you hope that the show goes home with them, and that there's discussions among couples and or individuals who came together who aren't couples about their lives and their lives choices, and maybe even the next day, and telling people to come and say, have you experienced that? I know you were involved directly with the original premiere of the show. Yeah,
I think this Tin Woman and this show, I get the most like notes from people, and or like somebody will contact me on Facebook, or they'll get a hold of my address and send me a note about things. And I've gotten a lot of because this one is set in a bar, because I was a bartender for years in Chicago. I get people, sending me bar paraphernalia, like a branded now and then shot glass or something. But I think it's the bigger question is I do get people with very thoughtful notes about it, and telling me that it touched them and it made them think. And I think we're on the same page. If we can have people go home and talk about the show, about what they saw, and be affected by it, well, that's the greatest. That's great right there.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And I do think that the fact that you mentioned the bar play is a great part about it too, because with the younger couple and with the older couple, having these conversations and releasing information, like, once again, we don't want to give any spoiler alerts, but there's lots of information, and there's handfuls of twists, and it's really exciting, and it's really romantic, and it's fun, and it makes you think. But the bar play aspect also is lets people speak more freely.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
After they've had a couple of drinks together, they can speak more freely.
Yes, in Vino Veritas. Yes, exactly.
I think that's kind of part of the fun of what happens in the show too, is that people open up and or become more not gullible, as we say in the show, but but they're more receiving of the information that they're getting. Anyway, I think you're a wonderful writer.
Thank you.
I'm really looking forward to Now and Then. We just wanted to have our audience get an opportunity to meet you and to hear a little bit about your thoughts on the show. And we're really looking forward to a successful run of Now and Then. And I can't wait to see the response of our audience with our next Sean Grennan piece.
Thank you so much for your trust and your belief. I really appreciate it. It's more important to me every year I live that that I can still stay in this game, and that people appreciate we communicate, that this is a conversation. It's a conversation.
It's a conversation. We're in the most collaborative business there is. And so the collaboration is great. And I appreciate your responses and just your friendship and the ability to talk to you about your pieces. And we'll stay in touch. And ladies and gentlemen, this is Sean Grennan, Playwright, Now and Then.
Thank you, guys. Enjoy the show.
You all.